everyone, and welcome back to the Water Online Show, powered by Water Online. I'm your host, Travis Kennedy, publisher here at Water Online, and I am joined by a very special guest host who I will introduce in 1 minute. But before I do that, I want to let everybody know what we're talking about today. So today, we're tackling one of the most talked about and often misunderstood topics in the industry, and that is digital transformation. What does it actually mean for water utilities? And more importantly, how much of it is real progress versus just, say, like buzzwords that we hear throughout the industry all the time? To help us cut through the noise, today we are joined by not only a special guest host, but a special guest who I will introduce here in just a minute, but he's going to bring a deep perspective on how utilities are approaching technology, data, and change. So before we go any further, it is important that we talk about who is joining me in the studio today. Very special guest host. She is back for her first appearance on the Water Online Show in about 1.5 years. We want to welcome back industry legend, Miss Nadia Abboud. Nadia, welcome back to the Water Online Show.
Thanks for having me back, Travis. And Bill, I'm so excited to have my first dip into the Water Online Show with you.
Oh, thank you.
That brings me to the very special guest that we have here today. None other than Bill Blank, Director of Global Marketing Communications for Badger Meter. Bill, as Nadia had said, welcome back. Welcome to the Water Online Show. We are so happy that you're able to join us. And I was hoping we could just dive right in. I have an opening question that was sort of set that level set right off the bat as we get started here. When you hear the phrase digital transformation, and I mentioned it in the introduction, and we hear it in the water sector all the time, what percentage of it is real change versus, say, just good marketing?
Well, I'm flattered you say good marketing to the marketing guy. So thanks for that, Travis.
I teed that up. I get it. I get it, though.
Yeah, like somebody phrased it. It's one that I think we all probably say a lot, but then maybe if we slow down here, what does it actually mean? And when we have conversations with our customers on the topic of digital transformation, it's pretty clear the desire is real and prevalent. The desire to transform digitally is out there, and it's coming from the place of best intentions. But the how is where it starts to get muddy. How do I get to digital transformation? So, you ask about how much is real versus is marketing. Gosh, percentages are so tough when we're talking 50,000 plus utilities in the United States, all living in different realities in their regions and systems. So maybe we could step back a little bit and think of it. Digital transformation has already been happening for a long time. It's a long journey, like from our world of metering, just a journey from physically walking to see meters to driving by the meter to now collecting the meter data from some sort of remote system. That's been a digital transformation. And that actually makes me think maybe we need to think about transformation not as this massive, huge undertaking, but in smaller ways, like a little bit test and learn type approach. So, we see that with our customers a lot. One of the areas that comes to mind is in the area of water quality testing. The notion of driving to a point, grabbing a sample, driving back, having the lab analysis of that sample. There are ways to do small installations of remote water quality sensors or remote high pressure monitoring devices or pressure monitoring devices that allow our customers to start to dip their toes into different parts of digital transformation in smaller ways.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be a one step at a time process here. And you take me back quite a ways, but it's not so far back in history where we actually remember having to walk up to water meters and actually read the actual meter, what it says, and write it down in a book and then bring it back to the plant. But it's not that long ago that was actually happening. I mean, a lot of utilities hear digital transformation and think, oh boy.
Here it comes.
Yeah, here comes the price tag. That's what they want to get right down to. But they think big, expensive, and disruptive, which can lead to some roadblocks and some speed bumps.
Right.
But from your perspective, what does meaningful digital progress actually look like at a utility level, especially for teams that don't have, again, huge budgets or IT staffs? Because Nadia and I have been in this industry a long time. And Nadia, I don't know about you, but have you ever come across an overfunded utility?
No, never.
All right, so it's unanimous on this side, Bill. But what say you?
Well, I think I mentioned the word vision in the last answer, and I think the vision needs to be big, and it will be a major project. It's going to be a once in a career journey for that utility director who's orchestrating all of this with his or her team. but what's the phrase of eating an elephant bite by bite type thing, right? So when you're evaluating something like, let's say, deploying a cellular AMI network across your system, regardless of how many services and customers you have, in reality, that experiment, that experience, that test drive, if you will, can start relatively small. I mean, we see so many of our customers starting with a 50 meter, 100 meter pilot. So they're testing the meter technology, they're testing the communications, they're testing the software interfaces, and then really learning from that to help them build the case internally to then take that next step in the vision towards digital transformation. And I think one of the benefits of working with a company that has deployed so much of this across the country is, even though you're starting small with a 50 meter pilot, for example, the opportunity to take the insights generated from your peers across the country who have already gone down this road, those peers that have the funding, have deployed full systems. It's a great opportunity to sort of crowdsource and share education, insights, learning from across the data set, which is trillions and trillions, to help even just that beginning small pilot test.
Baby steps. I think that's the key word, right?
Definitely. And, that ties into this other question we wanted to talk with you about, Bill, was sort of, okay, the vision needs to be big to start, but incremental small steps. So when a utility says, we need to modernize, but we don't know where to start, what do you see as the first practical step that's recommended, and why would that deliver the fastest value?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it kind of calls to mind the fact that how we develop our business and how we hopefully develop our customers' operations is just really, in a hopefully conversational way, a learning mode. And there's a lot of power in that. So we found some really fertile ground in our conversations around three things. What are the pain points that you're dealing with as a utility? Because, Nadia, I imagine if there's no overfunded utility, there's also no utility that has complete absence of pain points.
Yes.
So what are those pain points? What order are they stacked in your world? One. Two, what are your measurement needs? Of all the things in your system, what do you absolutely need to measure? And then probably the most important is the third. What is your desired outcome? It's so easy with all of this technology and all of this data to forget about, why are we doing this in the first place? So if we can string together the pain point, the measurement need, and the desired outcome, it really helps us avoid that shiny object syndrome, if you will, to just not buy tech for the sake of tech. And if we can continue to work to be really clear on why should we do this, and then ask why again, and then ask why again, it really gets us to that core source. And at the end of the day, then that helps whatever technology is invested in and deployed, it keeps that technology really closely paired with the desired outcome that not only sets up an operational win for our customers and for the utility, but also makes that ongoing investment justification story easier and easier over time as we go forward.
Bill, just a follow-up. Oh, sorry, Kotaras.
Go ahead, Nadia.
I was going to ask Bill a follow-up about those 3 points that you outlined. Yeah. There must be maybe an underlying educator role. I mean, if you're speaking about the different levels of where utilities are, you must find yourself often having to play that regardless of what step you're in.
Yeah, I think the educator role is a really good way to say it. And I think it's a luxury that we in the utility industry and so many of our peers and competitors and complementary products face is these are long-term relationships. I mean, we have multi-decade relationships through being around for 120 years with customers, which allows us to, in between large conversations of massive deployments of things, it allows us to have those educational, smaller conversations to make sure that we're always trying to learn those pain points, learn those desired outcomes, and to the extent of the solutions we have, bring solutions available to those utility customers.
It's important that you point out the fact that for utilities, one of the main hurdles that they need to get over is to make sure they keep an eye on what their desired outcomes were from the onset. So as they go through this digital transformation journey, that those are at the forefront of their minds. It's going to help them make better decisions. So utilities right now are collecting more data than ever. We can all agree on that. But I think we'd also agree that many still struggle to turn it into something actionable. So getting the data is one thing, doing something with that data is another layer and another course of action.
Right.
Where do you see utilities getting stuck between data collection and then, of course, the decision making that should be occurring after that data is collected?
Right. Yeah. The terms, the struggle is real comes to mind.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Because it is. And I think so much data can absolutely be paralyzing. And it makes us step back and say, with all this data, what's the benefit you seek from the data that you're collecting? What insights do you actually want?
Exactly.
And because so many customers just don't know where to start, this is where I will say AI, because you have to say AI in every podcast and meeting like this.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you got it out of the way in the first half of this conversation, so we didn't have to circle back to it. Thank you for that. Yes, exactly.
So we put AI on the table, and I think one of the ways that we're at Badger Meter, we're thinking about AI for our utility customers is minimizing the scariness of AI, of like all this data and what's it going to do and how's it going to take over.
It's important.
We start saying AI is more actionable intelligence. So from all of this data that you've collected, how can AI inside of that system help deliver for you actionable intelligence?
I like that. I like changing the entire word. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Action intelligence. Got it.
And that makes it feel a little less scary and a lot more helpful too. So in our world at Badger Meter, that our software platform Beacon is our meter data management plus so much more. And we've built into it an actionable intelligence layer. We call it Cobalt. And really it's a recommendation engine. So you think about the luxury that Badger Meter has of having such great customer relationships over such a long period of time and a decade's worth of data collection. We have trillions of data points collected across customers that can help spot trends and help monitor situations so that the user of the system doesn't necessarily need to be an AI expert, but they can say, I am seeing this happen in my system. And when others have seen this happen in the system, it was likely caused by this. So that ability to query trillions of data points allows us to really help our customers find events and solve for those events without having to solve it all for the first time.
So, Bill, you said the struggle is real, which probably ties in with when you're thinking about it, it's real. But then when it's happening, this, what did you call it? Actionable intelligence.
Yes.
Is promising efficiency gains, but utilities are also dealing with workforce shortages, institutional knowledge loss. So when you think about this, how can technology or these digital tools support operators, field crews, instead of adding complexity or just stirring up the water?
Yeah, literally sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that takes me back to what we talked about before about pairing technology to outcomes and also the pain points. Yeah, when we talk pain points with customers, what you just mentioned, Nadia, those two items, high on the list. So I think let's take the labor piece first. When we seek to solve labor shortages with digital tools, a lot of that is how the digital tools allow a utility to report data remotely. We talk about reducing truck rolls all the time. How many times does a utility need to send a crew or a truck out into their field, out into their system to do something, whether it's capture a manual read, make a repair, grab a water quality sample. If we can help collect more of that data remotely, it helps reduce the to-do list on a daily basis for the work crews and helps them make that more manageable. I think if you look at the question of how do you solve the knowledge attrition problem with digital tools, that goes back to that repository of data again, of like all these trillions of data points collected over the years has been this sort of digital historian that is going to help that new crew person in the field at a meter, at a station, a lift station, for example, to be able to solve those problems. So one of the things we've done is, so we have these trillions of data points at the home office, if you will, in Beacon. We've created a field app that takes that data and takes it into the hands of the field crews to know where they're standing, what they're looking at, what's the history of that particular customer, and so much more. So that's two places where digital can help the labor, the teams, the employees of the utility in the field.
So, I mean, when we talk about being out in the field, one of the major reasons why we have water utility workers and operators out in the field historically has been water loss.
Sure.
Right? Trying to find out where the leaks are and trying to find out why this particular residence has a water bill that's $1,000 for the month or whatever the case is. That's historically been an issue. So, but reducing water loss is a priority almost everywhere. and has been for a long time. So how has the approach to leak detection and non-revenue water management evolved over the past, say, 5 years? And what's actually working in the field right now in 2026?
That's a great question because I imagine a world not that long ago where the ability to detect a leak is magic, right? And it's
Right.
still is in a way. So just the ability to have the digital tools at the disposal of the utility is kind of fascinating. But I mean, to your question, I know again the pain points come up, right? So many of our customer conversations around technology and digital transformation do focus on minimizing and to the extent eliminating non-revenue water. And that could be for so many reasons, right? It could, as you and your listeners know, for conservation reasons, for cost realization reasons, for both, for other. I think we look at it through the lens of metering and cellular AMI and how our customers have adopted that. The notion of district metering, which is I've thought of it as I've learned it over the past few years, just the notion of how much water entered the neighborhood and how much did you charge for, and what's the delta, and how do we solve for that? So I think the greater adoption of cellular AMI has really helped our utility customers find where those big problems are. And then speaking of big problems, I think that's where things like acoustic leak detection help them pinpoint those meaningful problems. And I want to over emphasize this, but really predict the future. Like, where is this potentially going to break, and how could I potentially fix it before it does? That's a real possibility. The ability to see into the future. So, at the end of the day, I think it really helps utilities have a better sense of what's going on in their system, and really prioritizing the problems, because you can't fix all of them at once. So, where are they? Where are those problems? Which ones do I do in what order? And I think that's a lot of how this has evolved over the past few years.
I mean, predictive analytics has changed the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely changed. It's enabled utilities to go on offense instead of play defense and handle problems when they arise. They can actually, as you put it, see into the future and let's fix it now before it becomes a problem. I think that's one of the most understated progressions in this whole digital transformation journey that utilities are now being able to celebrate the fact that they can actually do this. It's crazy in my mind.
I know, but Bill has been speaking to all these various options that exist out there. So it's almost as, is there a concern of ending up with a patchwork of disconnected systems, whether it's the AMI, SCADA, analytics, platforms, whatever it might be. So there's so many options out there. So when utilities are thinking about integrating and they're building this sort of cohesive strategy as best to their ability, how do they achieve that rather than just the COT, the collection of tools?
Yeah,
the COT.
Hey, if we can change, we're going to reverse acronym everything this episode.
There we go.
The collection of tools. Yeah, because great. You're a super progressive and interested and curious utility director who's explored all these different ways to collect data, and then great, your reward is you have all these disconnected systems that may or may not work together.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we at Badger Meter have experienced that a lot over our past few years in our journey, because we've gone through our own digital transformation, if you will, of expanding the broad scale of solutions to help across the water cycle. So, Badger Meter was pretty much in that meter to cash billing, the cash register of the utility, but now we've gone all the way upstream into source water monitoring, and all the way downstream into wastewater treatment and returning that water to source. And that's what we call BlueEdge, which is our water technology platform that seeks to tie these things together. And I think that tying together part is probably the core of the answer to your question. Is as a utility is going through and figuring out, great, I have all these tools and I'm thinking about new tools. How well, they have to ask themselves, how well does the system ingest not only data from the devices that are provided by the manufacturer, in this case us, but all the other manufacturers. So when we're doing that educator role, as you said before, Nadia, I think we're always trying to say, try to be as unified as possible on any new tool. So go to some place that takes all of the data from all of the sources across the entire system and brings them as much as possible into one place. That's one part of the solution. But then does that single pane of glass work well with and play well with those other systems? Are there integrations available to pull in data from different sources? Are there integrations to pull in data, in our case, from other manufacturers? And yeah, we pride ourselves on doing that. So at the end of the day, once it's all connected, hopefully it's as seamless of an experience as possible.
I mean, that is one of many things about this particular section of the industry and the market, as to how a lot of the traditional metering companies are able to kind of work together to help customers solve problems. And on the utility side, one thing that we want to make sure that we emphasize here is that these utilities have customers, but a lot of times they go sort of unseen in terms of the fact that you can't point to one person and say that is my customer. Their customers are the constituents that live within the demographic of the utility, right? The town or the city or whatever. So, I mean, on the customer side, on their customer side, expectations are changing really fast. So, the residents want more visibility into their usage and getting alerts and being able to manage how they utilize water going in and out of their house. So, from a utility standpoint, how are they balancing improved customer engagement, but also keeping up that operational efficiency? It's a delicate balance. It's a tightrope.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think, this one of the success measures of how a utility runs is how much the phone doesn't ring or how much the emails don't come in to say something is wrong. So that being quiet and just doing things really well in the background. I think it's lucky for all of us listening to this that the water industry is living in 2026 in a very app-centric world, right? So obviously all of us in our daily lives are so familiar with how our handheld devices are there to help us monitor anything, right? Flights, hotels, expenses, shopping lists, sports scores. And the same can be true for water and for utilities. It's all this data we talked about before, that there's all this data available. So what the best utilities are doing is taking that data that's in a system in their office only for them and finding ways to push that out to customers. So in our world, it's an app we offer to our customer, to the constituents, called Ion Water. And it's a homegrown Badger Meter product that brings that relevant meter data into the hands of the customer so that they're not only monitoring their usage and becoming aware of those anomalies, like I left the garden hose on, but it also gives a communication channel to the utility to push information directly to those utilities. So especially in areas of the country where conservation is a stronger story than others, we've seen a lot of utility adoption and interest in this customer engagement portal, like I said, that we call Ion Water.
Is that something that they're able to kind of customize to tailor their certain demographics or how the nomenclature that might work in their area?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's definitely options to have that conversation. It goes back to the long-term relationship we have with customers and all of us do in the water industry, is the ability to, I'll say, skin it in such a way that it doesn't look like a Badger Meter product. It might not be called Ion Water. It looks like it's coming directly from city of X to their customers.
Oh, that's fantastic. So between the Ion Water and then you alluded to it earlier, that your Badger Meter's BlueEdge platform, which is the thing that ties it all together, the measurements, the analytics. So I just heard the name, but and I'm kind of clear because I did a little bit of research beforehand, but I would love for you to share with our listeners what makes it different and how would you describe its role in helping utilities move from a more reactionary to a more proactive operational approach.
Oh, that's the perfect way to say it. I mean, that is the value proposition, Nadia, at the very end of it. But what the idea of BlueEdge is you think about a company like Badger Meter that's been around for now 121 years, and metering is at our core, literally in our name, and it's still the core of our business. But as I've said in the conversation, we've expanded into the ability to measure so much more across the water cycle. So we needed to come up with this way to help our customers understand that there's more here to offer. So it's assembled into 4 suites. It's measurement and control. So it's our measurement devices of various formats. It's connectivity and communication. How does that data that was measured by the device get deployed and sent somewhere else? It's the third bucket is insights and action, which is what we spend so much time talking about. Is great. You have all these devices installed. You have the ability to send the data where you want it. But how does that come into a software layer? How does that come into that pane of glass so that you're able to actually make some decisions and make proactive decisions? And then the fourth piece is one that we should actually talk about a lot more, is it's the people part. We call it collaboration and support. So it's the, how do you help digital transformation by bringing people experts into the conversation from a not just what you'd expect, like a tech support and a customer service standpoint, but from installation services or consulting on where to deploy your pressure sensors or so many other, that's where the AI and the Cobalt comes in with helping people make decisions. Anyways, all of that together is connectivity. And at the end of the day, BlueEdge exists to connect everything Badger Meter sells, aim it towards delivering outcomes, and help our customers eliminate any uncertainty in their operations and their systems, to gain clarity over that system. And then, as you said, Nadia, in the end of the question, to take action proactively. That's what BlueEdge is.
So I was going to ask, how do people find out more about BlueEdge if they were interested?
Well, thanks for asking, Nadia. The best place to go is to our website, which is badgermeter.com/BlueEdge. That's the best entrance into learning about that idea and then digging into the products and services that are available as part of it.
Awesome. So I don't want to let you out of here without giving you the opportunity to tell us what the future holds. And I mean, I need you to accurately predict what's going to happen here. So if there's any delineation between what it is you're predicting and what actually happens, we are going to revisit this episode and have you back, and then we'll go through a whole nother line of questions.
We need to forget Nostradamus. We need your Waterdamus moment right now.
Exactly.
Lloyd,
so here we go.
That's another good one. Write that one down.
Here we go. It's a Water Online show. Tomorrow's headlines today. Here we go.
Okay.
5 years from now, what's the one belief the water industry holds today about digital transformation that you think will prove to be completely wrong?
Okay, that's a good one. And I think I probably set myself up for this with my talk about the magic show and predicting the future and all these things.
That's it. Yeah, it's predictive analytics is kind of what we're doing here.
That's a good impression. Okay. Can I have two?
Yes, you may have two. Yeah.
Two quick ones.
Excellent.
I think the first one that comes to mind is that the perception that digital transformation is massive and only available for large utilities with massive dollars to spend.
Love that one.
Isn't going to be true. And I think we talked about it through the course of the conversation, that there's smaller ways to do this on a journey and to build this in over time. And I think the second one is with all this data that a utility director and utility director's staff will need to be data analysis and AI experts. And you won't. I think that's why we are here. That's why suppliers like Badger Meter are in relationships with utilities, to leave that stuff to us. Let us work on that so that as a utility, you can be more focused on operational success, customer support success, and really experts over your system, what you know best. Let us take care of the rest. I think those are the two that come to mind.
I love it. Nadia, do you have anything to add on your prognostication? Because I'm going to keep mine to myself, because Bill knows a lot more about this than I do. But...
Oh yeah, no, I trust his input. I'm just happy that our listeners got to hear about what Bill is doing with Badger Meter. This sort of his insights on digital transformation, where they're taking it from an organizational perspective. I love that BlueEdge concept. It's just fantastic. So thanks for sharing that with us today, Bill.
Yeah. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate the opportunity to chat and put our thoughts out for your listeners.
Yes. I mean, of course, we'd love to have you on the show. Everybody, Bill Blank, Director of Global Marketing and Communications with Badger Meter. And Nadia, I want to thank you for guest starring in this episode of the Water Online Show.
I love being here.
This is probably going to be the most downloaded episode we have, which is going to set up a trend where we're going to have you back more often as a special guest host. So thank you.
Hey, Bill, thanks for being my tipping point.
There we
go. Welcome.
There we go.
Happy to be a part of it.
No, a big thank you to both of you. And for all of you out there, a big thank you to all of our viewers and all of our listeners. Today, we challenge some of the assumptions that we hold about digital transformation, and reminding us that real progress in this industry is not about technology alone. It's about how we think, decide, and lead. Because at the end of the day, the future of water won't be defined by the tools that we adopt. It will be defined by the choices we make with them. And we covered a lot of that today. And that's exactly where Water Online comes in. Our goal isn't to just showcase new solutions, it's to help bridge the gap between what's possible and what actually works in the field. Whether it's conversations like this, case studies, technical insights, we do everything we can to help you make smarter, more confident decisions. So if you're a utility trying to navigate digital transformation, or a technology provider trying to better serve the market, this is the work that's in front of us. As always, thank you for listening to the Water Online Show. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button and follow button, share with a colleague, stay connected with us at Water Online. Until next time, everyone, keep pushing the industry forward.